Okay.
Oh,
We've
fun.
had a lot of questions. So since the NAR settlement, we've had a lot of questions about weird scenarios that happen with buyers in particular and whether or not you need a buyer's representation agreement, depending on the different scenarios. So what we did was we came up with 8 or 9 scenarios of that we're going to ask you. Do we need a buyer's rep or do we don't? Or if we don't, what form do we need in these situations? And hopefully this will bring some clarity to you guys so that you can better understand when a buyer. I see Ashley shaking her head like, "Yep, that's my goal." Um, which which will be perfect. Yep, Megan's putting an apple on my desk. I don't know. Apparently I'm a teacher today. Um,
Seems fitting.
right? So how many people, just by show of hands, how many people have had a weird call from a buyer that they're not sure if they need a buyer's rep in the last year and a half, right? Almost everybody. And I'm not gonna lie, as a
Except Keegan.
manager,
Keegan apparently doesn't have any weird situations.
she has a hard line, man. If you're not gonna sign with her, why is she wasting your time, right?
I wish
Um,
I had gumption like her. Let me tell you, holy buckets.
and I'm not gonna lie, guys, some of these scenarios are very confusing. Like even as us as managers, Christine and I and Darcy and Brandon and Sean, we call each other all the time because we're not totally confident that the answer is you need one or you don't want need one. So we actually just last week went over all of these scenarios to make sure we were all on the same page and thinking about all the same pieces. On that note, if you have a specific scenario or a piece of a scenario that you want to bring up and say, but actually in this case, you'll do something different, just speak up, throw it in the chat. I would love to hear it because in real estate, one size does not fit all, and that includes scenarios and buyer's rep. So the goal is to get you guys thinking of what the triggers are for a buyer's rep, and hopefully that'll help you guys figure out everything else. Hmm. Okay. I just wanted to remind everybody about what the key forms are here, right? You have your agency in real estate transactions form. Talks about who represents who. It's not a contract. You have your buyer's rep exclusive, you have your buyer's rep non-exclusive, and you have your facilitator agreement. Who can tell me the difference between the buyer's rep exclusive and non-exclusive? Ashley, you raised your hand. I saw it.
Well, not yeah, non-exclusive means that they don't exclusively work with you. You know, they can work with any realtor. They could have 100 of those signs, 100 of them
Hmm.
signed technically all over the state of Minnesota
Hmm.
and whatever. And then exclusive means they only work with you and you are the only one that shows them.
Yeah.
What's the determining factor?
What'd you say? What's the determining factor?
Yeah, what's the
The
determining
properties that you
factor?
show them, the properties you show them under non-exclusive means that you have the opportunity to be able to um, accept your commission, get paid.
Hmm.
Well, number one, the easy answer, of
Oh,
course, is going to be the
sorry.
terms of the contract. It could say bold letters in the top right, exclusive or non-exclusive. That's the first thing. What's really common is geographical boundary. So you can have an exclusive or a non-exclusive, but you can make an exclusive representation agreement specific for counties, geographical regions, whatever you want. That's a most common way to do that to protect yourself. But yes, Ashley's right. Ultimately, it comes down to what is in the contract itself. Are you allowing them to work with someone else, or are you allowing them, are you just hanging out, or are you going steady? If we want to cross generational lines and analogies, right? So like there's a context there which needs to be clearly defined and moving forward. But remember, just like any other contract, you can add language, and geographical things are very, very common. I think I have four different exclusive buyer rep agreements for the great state of Florida right now, and they're all geographically bound, right? So like you can have multiple, and it's totally fine. But you got to be very specific on what you do and how you're going to get compensated. To Jay's point.
Mm-hmm. Now, facilitator agreements. What's the difference between a facilitator agreement and a representation contract?
You do not represent them in a facilitator contract.
Mm-hmm.
What does that
What
mean?
You don't have to, you don't provide any advice or
You only
negotiation
provide them
on their behalf.
confidentiality.
Yep,
Mm-hmm.
the only is confidentiality. Yep.
Mm-hmm. What does that look like in practice?
Well, if someone says, well, what's your opinion on this? If someone says that, what would you do in this situation? And you're going to say, well, guess what? I don't represent you, so I can't tell you my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
If you'd like my opinion, we need to enter into a different contract.
There you go. Facilitator agreements are hard. And I know we lean to them when people don't want to do the buyer representation contracts. I get it. But your job as the agent in a facilitator agreement is just to do what they tell you and to hold that confidentiality, right? Like that's it. We can't give advice. We don't have reasonable care, and it's very hard. I'm one of those people. I'm a helping McHelper pants. It's very hard for me to not answer the question with the knowledge that I have.
Exactly.
Just is. Next question. Can you facilitate for a seller and a buyer on the same property?
Yes.
He says yes. Christine says yes. Why?
Don't represent any party, so therefore I can facilitate both of them.
Mm-hmm. You only owe them
But they both-
confidentiality. Yep.
But they both sign a facilitation agreement.
Right. They both have to sign the facilitation agreement. Right? Brandon, do you have anything from your time on the state boards about facilitation agreements that we should know about?
Oh, no, not really. I mean, our team is pretty solid with handling them. Nobody really undercuts their service too much. So I think it's pretty well. One thing that's worthy to note, I will say, is in Minnesota specifically. I'm not explicitly clear on North Dakota. I'd have to ask people smarter than me. But Minnesota, there is the implied agency, right? And so, the facilitator role is our implied agency. Without an agreement in place, the moment you begin providing counsel or asking guiding questions, or you start basically, what I say is the moment agency comes out, or the moment agency should come out is maybe the better way of saying that. Minnesota has an implied agency law when your default role is a facilitator with a consumer. So even in the event of, like, open houses are a really easy one where your implied agency role is a facilitator. And I think it's important to note that oftentimes, as Helping McHelper Pants here likes to give information away just because she can, so do so many other real estate agents. And we think we're selling our services or being helpful or whatever, but you're actually, you're crossing a fiduciary line, which has some legal ramifications in that space. Who's really good at this is attorneys. And I don't know why they're so good at it and we're not, but they're really good at holding the line on, well, I can't guide that to you, or I can't provide you information without an engagement letter, right? Which is true in our industry as well. We don't police it as well, because that implied agency relationship is a facilitator role, to the point where, yeah, you can, kind of give the information, give some guidance, some generalities, if you will. But the moment you start getting into specific tactics, that relationship has transitioned from your implied agency of facilitation into a form of representation. And that's when we need to get a little bit better about it. And I'll say from an experience level, that's kind of the big piece that I think we are missing often, is we tend to give away all of our information for free without actually collecting the value that we have. And sometimes I think we should go to it like the attorney model, where we just start billing per hour. and just see what everybody actually does when we send them their monthly bills. But that's a different model that we're not quite there yet. So that's my 2 cents on that.
Hmm. I think the hour-and-a-half phone call with your seller when they're telling you about all their grandkids would probably stop.
Real quick.
Yep. Okay. Here's scenario 1. We're going to start off really easy in the morning on a Tuesday. Buyer calls you. Now, keep in mind, you don't have a representation contract with any buyers in these scenarios, right? Buyer calls to view your listing. What do you need?
Nothing. You're representing the seller.
Agency.
Well, yeah. Thanks, Keegan.
You're welcome.
Oh. Yep. Good news, guys. This one was an easy one, right? You're absolutely right. It's your listing. You represent the seller. That's who your fiduciary duties are. You need to have the buyer sign an agency relationship before they walk in the door so that you have proof that they understand that you represent the seller. That's the goal for the agency relationship, right? At that point, they may want to enter into a buyer's rep contract with you too. And that's fine as long as your seller has agreed to dual agency, you can do that. Now, a key thing with agency forms, write the buyer's name on top of the form because no one can read their signatures. And if you have to prove that you told them about agency and they signed this thing and you're going through 400 different agencies in your office, how are you going to find it? Write their name at the top of the form. It's that
You
easy.
look at the date and try to figure out, oh, when did I meet with them? Okay, it was this date. Oh, okay, yeah.
Right?
I don't know why. Yeah, experience. Yeah.
Mhm.
But this goes for also any listing in our brokerage, correct?
Hey, stop jumping ahead.
Oh, sorry. I'm bad. I had that happen. I was
It sounds like a great transition.
It does. It sounds like a perfect
Yes.
transition.
Yeah.
Buyer calls to view a Coldwell Banker Crown listing. Now, keep in mind, we have 5 offices throughout the state of Minnesota and North Dakota, right? Buyer calls to view any one of those. What do you need?
Agency.
Ding, ding, ding.
I just learned it from Brandon.
You're absolutely right. So again, agency. Because all of our contracts are with the brokerage, you represent all of our sellers, which means all of our agents represent all of our sellers. Right? Again, you need agency to tell the buyer who you represent. Don't forget to talk about dual agency, in particular, if they want to sign a contract with you. Okay, so those 2 were easy. Okay, you told your buyer your listing. Sorry, I shouldn't say your buyer, a buyer, non-contracted buyer. Now they want to see a property listed by a different brokerage. What do you need?
buyer rep and agency.
Agency and buyer's rep. Why?
It's not our listing.
We
Because
don't.
we're not representing the seller.
Right. Even though there's implied agency, like Brandon was talking about in the state of Minnesota, right? Because of the NAR settlement agreement, we have to have a written agreement. Now,
let's just pause here really quick, right? Like this is, I heard some people the other day having an argument, and not at our brokerage, thankfully, but I heard some agents having a conversation, I will say, about the fact that they don't need a written agreement to show properties anymore. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? And they were having this argument back and forth, right? Like, well, I don't need a buyer's rep. And I'm like, okay. But the other person was like, no, you got to have it. And then the distinguishing factor here is that legally, yes, you do not need anything to show property. Legally, you do need something to write a contract for somebody, right? And so that's like the bare minimum. We're talking about a practice change as a participating member of the Realtor Association that requires you to have a written agreement. It doesn't have to be your buyer rep. Could be a showing touring agreement, not our preferred. Buyer rep agreements are way easier and way more protective, which is why that's what we recommend you do. But nevertheless, there is a difference between what you're doing. You have your legal obligation that your real estate license holds, and then you have your ethical and standard of practice obligations that your realtor membership holds. And those are two different requirements that we accomplish by the buyer rep agreement. So just to make sure we're really clear on the situations on when you need those different documents and why you need them, because even to this day, after all the trainings and everything we do, real estate agents still don't fully understand what in the world actually happened with the settlement. So, sorry, just to make sure we're all on the same page again.
Well, and yeah, go ahead, Mike.
Okay, so if it's another brokerage listing and you have a buyer's non-exclusive just to go see it, do you still have to have them sign the other agency, or is that built into the buyer's rep contract?
No.
Good question.
Yeah, so agency is required. Agency is a separate form, and it's not built into anything in the buyer's rep contract. Now, but the buyer's rep contract does talk about dual agency, just like the agency form does, right? But they are two separate forms, and our state law requires agency at first substantive contact. Terms, price, motivation, right? We're talking about any of those things. You need agency. So you need both of those forms. Did that answer your question, Mike?
Yeah, so I was just confused on that because I thought it was built into the buyer's thing. So, oops.
That's okay. That's why we do this.
That's why we do this. You'll go forward and you'll fix it. Here's the deal. Once we get into some of these harder scenarios, I guarantee there's agents who have done these things wrong.
Yeah.
Just is.
Well,
This
if
is
it makes
why
you
we
feel any
train.
better, if it makes you feel any better, Mike, too, I've made the mistake of helping people in the Fargo-Moorhead area, and I had them sign agency in one state, and then I crossed the river, and I forgot to have them sign it in the other state. So
Right.
it happens. Different
We
states,
are-
different. I know, Jay. I know. I fixed it. Just drink your old fashioned, and life will be great. Okay. Anyway, not that I'm jealous at all. It's no big deal.
Yep. So you're absolutely right. You need agency and a representation form of some kind. Now, I'm using representation form in this as a very broad term. It can be an exclusive, non-exclusive, or a facilitator agreement. Okay, that counts as a written agreement.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. Buyer wants to look at a non-Coldwell Banker Crown Realtors listing, right? So it's not our listing, but they refuse to sign anything. I'm not signing anything. I want you to show me this home. I'm not signing anything.
Oh.
What do you need?
To walk away.
Right. Yeah.
You need at least you need a one-time showing agreement, don't you? At least.
And agency, I'd say.
Well, yeah, you need both, but I'm just saying you don't need a exclusive, but you would need a one-time showing minimum.
Yeah, Jay, I don't want to sign anything. I'm not going to sign anything with you. I just want you to open up the door so I can see this house.
I'm sorry, I can't do that.
Well, why can't you do it? You just showed me this house that was right here that's listed by your brokerage. Why can't you do that over here now? It's right
It's
next
not our
door. We're right
listing.
here.
Not our listing.
Well, I don't represent you. I represent the seller at that point.
Mhm.
Right? Reiterate. You guys are absolutely right. You have to say no. You cannot show a property that is not our listing without some kind of written agreement. And you can make that written agreement. These are really good pieces where you can make that written agreement good for that day. One day, one property. And this is where your skills as a communicator comes in, so you can explain it to the buyer, right? Because what that is it's fear. That's fear from the buyer that they're going to be stuck with you. They don't even know you yet. They just wanted to see your listing, right? They might have gotten taken advantage of by another real estate agent in their past. That I refuse to sign anything is fear. I don't understand what I'm signing. and I don't trust you. And so that's where we come in as communicators. And we will either get it through to them or we won't. Has anybody had to refuse a showing yet? Jay says yes.
Yeah, I had to.
Brandon
I
says
was,
yes.
I was at the property they wanted to see, and I mentioned to him he has to sign this showing agreement just for this one property for one day, and he refused to sign it, so I didn't let him in because I wasn't sure if he was from some department checking up on agents. You never know, you know. So I didn't let him in, and he wasn't happy. But hey,
You know what,
sorry.
Mike? And that's a line that I use with people as part of education when people get stuck. And they're like, well, this doesn't make sense. And I said, well, let me try to explain it to you again. Does this make sense? Well, it does. And I say, here's the deal. I don't know you and you don't know me, right? For all I know, you could be a spy with the Department of Commerce. And believe it or not, I really like my real estate license and I'm not willing to lose it in case you're a spy today. So if you're testing me, you're going to notice that I'm really good at my job because I'm doing my job. So thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So I always put it back as the spy for the Department of Commerce thing. And
Oh,
it's a
yeah.
really easy way to have that conversation with people.
Well, 100%, you redirected it to something of actual value or that they, an intangible that they can't refute. So they're like, okay, fine.
Well, my favorite thing is it always makes me go, well, I'm not a spy. And I said, well, that's fine. Then you shouldn't have a problem signing this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, every bit of it. So keep in mind, you have to tell them no. And it's hard, especially in real estate when we're only paying on commissions, man. It's hard. Especially for helping McHelper pants. Yep. But you got to do it. How about this one? Buyer calls you and they want to see this property right now. It's not your listing. It's not a Coldwell Banker listing, but they can't reach their agent.
No.
Run. Bye-bye.
That's just too
Run.
bad. You'll have to wait.
Call your agent.
I love all of these answers. Yes.
But wait.
Yeah.
I'm willing to sign an agreement with you, so why won't you show this to me? I know the drill. My other agent told me about it. I'll sign an agreement with you to show me this property.
Then you ask if they are exclusive or non-exclusive agreements.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
You know, I don't remember what I signed, but it doesn't matter. I'll sign something with you.
Well,
I
you know
gotta
what?
see this house today.
It matters.
No, you got to figure out what you have, and you have your agent contact me, whether it's a non-exclusive or an exclusive.
But why? Why can't I just sign this form with you right now?
Do you want to pay double
Because
commission?
There it is.
Exactly. Thank you.
Mhm.
Yep.
So the reality is you can sign multiple buyer reps, right? Like that's not your problem as the buyer's agent. It becomes a problem of the buyer, right? And what they want to do. But if they push and push and push, you certainly can. Now I usually defect and say, hey, just call the name on the sign. If you want to see it so bad right now, like your best protection is just call the name on the sign. Now, the other side of that is, again, you go back to giving away advice and counsel for free. That's giving away advice and counsel for free, but it also removes my liability. So it's a questionable situation.
Mm-hmm. And again, these all are dependent on the situation. If it's our listing, okay, agency. But most of the time, the answer is no, you need to call your agent. Hey, why don't I text your agent for you and let them know that you're trying to get in contact with them? I've done that before. Hey, Eric, I just got a call from your buyer. They want to see one of these properties. I just want to let you know I'm not showing them. You need to contact them.
So nice.
I am very nice. It
Such
is
a helper
usually
McHelpy pants.
But Katie, you could do a referral.
you could, but you've got to get a hold of that agent to do a referral.
You could, but you could do a referral
Mm-hmm.
for showing them the property.
Absolutely.
Do not forget that. an area
Yep.
that we all forget about.
Yep. And so an agent, I mean, if you know that the agent is out of town, you could really, in all of our markets, we're fairly small. We usually know when other agents are out of town or on vacation, right? Because we've had some kind of conversation with them, deal with them, even in other brokerages. So you can absolutely do a referral. If they're an EXP agent that doesn't have anybody else in their office to help them to be able to show their buyer, why not work something out, right? A rising tide raises all ships. If you get paid and they get paid, cool. Buyer gets taken care of. Okay. How many of us have dealt with this one in Lake Country? Out of town agent calls you and asks you to show a property to their buyer on their behalf. What do you need?
A referral agreement.
That took a while.
Sorry, I
right?
was writing it down.
You write it you're absolutely right. So you need a referral agreement with the agent who's asking you to show their property. Now, there are a couple things with this. I've been asked, do you have to confirm that that agent has a signed buyer's representation agreement? The answer is you can
Yes.
ask, but they do not have to give their contract to you. You are in a different brokerage and a different thing. You can ask, but they are not legally obligated to share with you. So, as we work in a professional environment, we have to rely on the truth of what we're being told if they refuse to share a buyer's rep. Now, to be quite honest, if they refuse to share the buyer's rep with you, I would be a little suspicious, right? All I need is the first page to show me that who the buyers are and that your contract is valid. And the last page with signatures. Really, it's really all I need. I don't need to know what your commission is in there. That's your problem, right? Because I'm now in a referral agreement with you, Mr. Buyer's agent. And it doesn't matter what they buy or what the commission is, I'm going to get X amount based on that. So you can absolutely do this. And you start acting in a sub-agent capacity at that point, right? Now, I would be very careful about clarifying the role that the agent's asking you to do. Are they asking you to also write the offer? Are they asking you to help coordinate inspections if an offer gets accepted? Right? Because you become their boots on the ground to some degree. Okay. How many of you have been asked to do this by an agent from the cities before? Jay, Vern, yep. Yeah, it definitely happens. So you do not have to have agency or buyer's rep with that person to be able to show them. You do have to have a signed referral agreement. And good news, if you turn in your signed referral agreement, you get an IPA check mark. Bing. Don't judge me, Keegan. Oh,
It's
go ahead,
all
Vern.
love, Katie. It's all love.
I always love the biggest thing as I get is they say, well, will you show your listing to my buyer? Because I can't come up there. And I'm like, I go, no. Well, aren't you working for your seller? And it sucks because they put you in that position. But I'm like, well, aren't you working for your buyer? And it ticks me off. And I'll do it. I mean, again, I've done it because I want to sell the house, but it's like getting more and more to where it's like, no, I'm not. Come up here. If you want to sell real estate up here, you drive up here. I don't drive to the cities, or I don't call the cities and say, hey, will you show somebody a house? And
burn hold them to the fire. That's all I gotta say. Because they will come up if they do not want to pay out.
Mhm.
It's amazing if you tell them no enough times or give them all right, I'll show it for you, but I want a 50% referral. Sure. You can receive a 50% referral on the buyer side for your own listing. Of course you can. It's amazing how fast they figure out their schedule and they are able to come up.
That one gets really interesting when you got the referral agreement. How do you communicate that on a dual agency standpoint? Because you have a referral agreement at 50%. That one I'm curious on because I've dealt with that one and I have not determined how best I am. Is a dual agency, but it's not. But it's through a referral agreement.
It's a referral agreement. That's exact. So it's not dual agency. So in the listing contract, it says, okay. There is a lot of conversation about referral fees in particular nationally right now. For those of you who don't know, that's what Jay's alluding to, right? Because we don't currently have to disclose any referral fees that we're paying out of the commission that we've received, right? And so Jay's question is, how do you disclose that? How are you supposed to? Does it become dual agency? And it doesn't, because dual agency is a representation piece. You can receive zero commission on both sides, but as long as you have those contracts, you're a dual agent, right? So it's not based on money, it's based on the representation on the contract.
But it does have an effect on their net sheet.
But it does. But currently, there are no rules about disclosure of referral agreements. Now I say
that one's been a tricky one for me. I'm glad I brought that up.
Brandon, did you want to add anything from the national stage of what you've been hearing about that?
No, I think you covered it pretty well. I guess right now I lean in the camp of if it doesn't affect the seller, what do they care? What do they care what I do with or where my expenses are in my business? If it has a direct impact to them, like similar to like a seller's concession or a buyer concession, like then it's a different story. It should be disclosed, but I guess right now I don't have enough information to argue it. I can argue it the other way. I just think it's a bad argument. Right.
So
just
Brandon, on that one, are you going to disclose to your sellers that you do have that? Because that one was the one I've had I have shared it with my sellers that I'm getting paid extra because of that.
You're getting paid extra in what situation?
Oh, okay. So I got a 50% referral if the offer was accepted from the buyer.
Where's the 15 coming from? Sorry, give me a scenario I'm not
okay,
following.
So out of town agent asked me to show a property that I had the listing agreement on. I do a 50% referral, and then I review that offer, and they submit an offer, and I review that offer with the sellers that I'm getting my commission, but I'm also getting 50% of the buyer rep agreement. Should I have not shared that?
It doesn't hurt to share it, right? Like, it's not. I don't think it's not a negative. It doesn't affect the seller. They probably don't care. Do you have a requirement to? Not right now. No, you don't. Would I do it? No, I would not.
Okay. Well, I did, and I was just curious. So I don't
think there's anything wrong with doing it. I just think that was the other side of the transaction. And I was doing a favor. I opened the door or whatever I did. And one could argue that I was getting compensated for the buyer's agent to do a service for them. Okay.
Yeah, well, that's when we were asking about the whole dual agency situation where they were asking, well, do you represent them? I'm like, no, I don't represent them, but I know them. I know who they are. I know a little bit of their motivation, but I can't share that because of confidentiality.
In this situation, you 1000% could share that information.
Because I don't represent the buyer, correct?
Right.
I only represent the seller. Okay, got it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Good to know. Okay, good. I navigated that one wrong.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say wrong. I think you did it safely, right? And you did it above board more than you needed to. So I would say it wasn't wrong. It's a classy move not to share. And think about how much information we learn when those buyers drive up here and how much value we as a local agent give. And all of a sudden now you have all of this sentiment and, well, here's the home inspectors and, here's the septic guy I wouldn't use. Here's the septic guy I would use. By the way, I don't know any septic female people, so it's not a sexist thing. I just don't know a female who's in septic work. So like, there's nothing wrong with that. But in that situation that you described, Jay, you're representing the seller. You can even argue, you're working on behalf of your seller to open the door for a potential buyer, and you weren't due any additional compensation. The buyer's agent was just recognizing they made a mistake and were willing to do so. So, or not willing to make the drive, right? So they're willing to compensate you for their 4 hours in the car. But that's where there's a little bit of leniency in there. But yeah, in those situations, whatever you learn about or use, you have every right to use in your negotiations because you don't rep the buyer. Now, your own ethics would have to decide if you feel that's okay or not, but legally speaking, you can, and that would be just fine. So anyway, kind of a unique spot, but it's something we deal with all the time. So I totally get it.
No, it's great discussion. So I'm curious on that one. That one was a very tricky point.
And sometimes these can be super tricky, which is why we get the questions. Okay, I think this one should be easy. Open house walk-in. You're holding an open house on your listing, somebody walks in.
Nothing.
What do you
Nothing.
mean?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Look at you guys go. You're so smart.
Right? You got this one. Nothing. You don't need anything. You're representing the seller. You can get agency from the people as they go by, depending on how busy the open house is. The buyer might want to talk to you more and give up price, terms, motivation. Keep in mind, if they talk about any of those things, you need agency per state law, even if they're at an open house.
What zone are they in?
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Okay, so that one was easy. How about this one? Buyer you've been sending property to, you set them up for an automatic email, wants to write an offer. Apparently I have a before sight unseen on a sight unseen property. So they call you, they've been getting emails from you for who knows how long, right? They finally call you and they're like, yep, hey, I just saw this property come up. It's right next to mine. I want to write an offer. You haven't shown them anything. They don't want you to show them anything.
Buyer rep and agency.
Why?
Because you have to have that before you can write an offer.
Yep. I was just gonna say that. Can't.
Ding,
There's
ding, ding, ding. Yes. Yep. Now, it is argued that you are doing buyer agent work by sending them properties through the auto email. So technically, you should have a buyer's rep in place. However, there is a question as to whether or not, because you can set yourself up for automatic emails as a buyer on an automated system, right? Like if they do it on our websites, it runs into a round robin lead. So somebody picks it up, but they've set up the search themselves. You didn't do it for them. So remember that there are levels with state law and buyer representation. And once you cross that level, you need a contract to do more work for that person. And like Brandon has been talking about, doing work for free is not the best practice. Okay. Anybody want to add anything there? Okay, cool. Neighbor calls you. Hey, I just want to look. Yeah, I'm not super interested. I'm probably not going to buy it, but I just want to go look at that house real quick.
Is it our listing?
Let's say no.
Then you go back to
buyer
question, though.
Right. Agency and buyer's rep. But I just want to look. I'm not going to actually buy it.
I'll wait and hope they have an
Give
open
you a
house.
one-day
then.
showing. Exactly. You can tell them, hey, I'll be opening it next week. You can come in.
right?
But during the time of listing, the buyers cannot, or the sellers cannot show you it either
Um,
if it's under contract.
um, can
No, they can't.
sellers can show the property to whoever they choose. Absolutely. Now, if those people decide to buy it, or you still do commission, whether or not you've shown the property or a buyer's agent has shown the property, yes, because they're under contract. Now, if it's in coming soon status, no one may show it.
Yeah,
The
sorry, yeah,
seller,
that's where I was thinking of it.
there you go. The seller may not show it. You may not show it. No photographer in there, no inspectors, none of that.
You can't have a photographer in there taking the pictures?
Not in coming soon status.
Really?
I think a lot of people do that.
I know. I'm not
Isn't
saying
that
that
the
they
point?
don't.
Why, yeah, that's
Not
why
in
they do
co-
coming soon, because they
Coming
are getting photos.
So coming soon, withheld should be getting the property ready. Coming soon is to get it advertised and in front of as many people as possible.
You see coming soons all the time with 4 outside photos. They say exterior
And they
photos.
say photos
coming
will be,
next.
yeah, photos are coming.
Do we
And
know that the photographer has already been there and just hasn't gotten the photos yet?
No,
I-
we don't, but
Well, I do technically, but yes.
Right. I'm not
Yeah.
saying that everybody does it right, but that is how coming soon is supposed to be.
Well, that needs to be relayed, I think, because I don't think that's clear.
Photographers
Correct.
are withheld status only.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we need to stress that a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Good
Yep.
to know.
And here's the deal. That comes from a North Star and Association piece. Give your AE a call in your association and say, hey, I know there are people who are doing this. And you don't have to rat them out. Just say, hey, I know people are doing this. Could you just send out a reminder of what's allowed and what's not in these statuses? Could you reach out
Yeah.
to the broker? Because that's their job as the association AE, right? Is to make sure that we're all on the level playing field. You don't have to turn them in. Everybody makes mistakes. We all just talked about how we all make mistakes at different times, right? Have the conversation. If it's blatant and over and over and over again, yeah, now turn them in. Now they're doing it on purpose. They know better. All. Mm-hmm.
And this gentleman is creepy on that slide, so thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. You don't like him? I mean, come on.
It's
He's
just
got
the
cool
creepy
slicked
fence.
back hair.
It's just the fence whole thing, yeah.
You don't like Wilson?
Yeah, Wilson, home improvement.
Okay. Buyer has been shown homes by another agent in our office. So it's another Coldwell Banker Crown agent. And they called you because they want you to show them homes. What do you do? What do you need?
You don't need another buyer rep, but you should definitely call the other agent. This just happened with James and I, so we just walked through it and it went fine. I mean, she wasn't interested in the house anyways, so it ended up not being that big of a deal, but I think if you have good relationships with the agents, it's pretty easy to figure out a solution. But for documents, you don't need another buyer rep.
Okay.
Good. Should you confirm that the other agent has a buyer's rep with them?
Mm-hmm.
Probably. Unless it's our listing, right? Then you don't need it. But yeah. Yep, you should.
Well, and
Lot
nip it
of-
in the butt right away, don't you think? Like have that conversation right away. Don't do 2, 3, 4 showings or something. You know,
Yes.
just give that agent a call. You know, maybe it's a
Yes.
split commission or maybe whatever.
Yeah, or maybe they have time. I will say a lot of buyers, a lot of customers in general, clients in general, don't always understand. They think they're listing with the company, with the brokerage, because they are with their contract, they are. They don't always understand that they should be calling one agent, not just the office, for anybody to show them, right? or for anybody to list the property. Now, part of that comes from us. We have to explain that piece. But I can tell you, working at that front desk, I can tell you there are a bunch of buyers who call in and say, yeah, I've got a buyer's rep with Kelly, but I just need to go see this today. I know she's really busy. So anybody from your office can show me. That's fine. Because they have a contract with the office. They're not wrong, but with how our industry is set up and we get paid, that's not how we operate, right? So first things first, have the conversation.
Here's my favorite, right?
Yep.
Here's
Cutting out. Oh,
He
what?
is.
sorry.
You're cutting out, Brandon.
Well, but here's the deal. So nope,
Nope.
this is not working.
Try again.
Oh,
Never
you're
mind.
glitchy.
Tell me about it.
So you might be better now.
Are we thinking we're better now? Oh, I got 2 bars now. What the crap is with? I'm on the freeway. I'm supposed to have 4 bars at all times. Anyway,
What were you gonna say now? Quick. We can hear you.
okay, we'll see if I can do it. So my situations are always really fun when what happens is that I have the listing, and turns out like I'll send another agent, hey, would you be willing to show this for me or for my client or whatever else? And then you know what happens? They end up liking the other agent better than me. Then what do you do? See,
It's a
Ashley's
win-win,
laughing,
Brandon.
but that happened. The Larsons ended up calling her more than they called me because they like her more than me.
Well, we make a good team. They
So
still
now
pick
what
you.
am I supposed to do?
Hope that Ashley likes you enough to pay you something.
Yeah,
I do. I'll get you a pistachio coffee
There you
Appreciate
go.
that.
You get a
Thank you.
pistachio coffee.
with the little salty thing.
Gotta make sure
Salty
there's some extra
toffee.
salty on the top. It's the best part.
But it's a really good point. Here's the deal. Clients are the one who picks their agent, right? We enter into a contract with them. But as a managing director, if a client walks into my office who is contracted with our brokerage and says, I don't want to work with the agent that I've signed this contract with, I'm going to assign a different agent, right? It doesn't usually, 99% of the time, it doesn't mean you as the agent have done anything wrong. So Brandon, don't feel like you've done something wrong because they like somebody better, right? You didn't. You're okay. You're doing a good job.
You're doing great things.
But it does happen. So in these situations, communication is going to be key. Communication with the agent. And if you can't get a conversation with the agent, if they're not answering before the showing is supposed to happen, call the managing director from your office, right? Maybe the managing director is able to show them and then you don't have to waste your time. Maybe they know the situation that's going on with this buyer in particular and they have more information. Like reach out. Communication is going to be key in any of this. However,
Just clarify that one more time. So if the same situation, buyer they come in, walk in to the office, like you said, Katie, and my agent's busy, can another agent show me? So you have to verify the buyer rep first is with the company. You should.
yes, you should, right?
Yeah. So confirm buyer rep with just CB.
Yep. So my first step would be to call the agent to verify that they're actually too busy to show. Because sometimes buyers don't even bother to call, right? That would be my first step. Call the agent or text them, whatever. The next step is to verify agency and buyer's rep. And as long as you're calling the agent, you ask them, right? Now, not all of our agents turn in their agency and buyer's rep for the IPA check marks, right? And so the staff might not know if there is a signed buyer's rep. Only that agent will. What I would recommend is that if you can't verify that there's a representation form and you are showing them not our listing, go ahead and have them sign a 1-day or 1 property buyer's rep just to CYA, cover your butt, right?
Thank you.
Mhm. Yeah. And then at any point in there, if you have questions, call your managing director. They'll help. They'll walk you through it. Okay. Is there any other scenarios that we didn't think of? No? Did we do pretty good? Did we cover most of them that we were supposed to cover and what's required and why it's required?
Yes. Thank
Yeah?
you.
Okay. Good. Now the question is, will you remember when it's July and you're busy?
Well, the way I
Uh,
figure is no matter what, you're going to do something wrong. So even if you try to do it all wrong, it will be wrong.
as right. And you're not wrong.
How long have you been married?
A long time. But 33 years or something? I don't even know. Like, gosh,
Attaboy.
Mm-hmm.
been like a kid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we are going to make mistakes. We just are.
100%.
It's going to happen. As long as your heart's in the right place and you were trying to do the right thing, I don't care. We'll deal with it. We'll handle it. We'll walk with you down those court steps. Like, as long as you were trying to do the right thing and doing things in a logical pattern, right? If you come to me and say, I know I should have done this, but I didn't because I was in the pool. Yeah, I'm probably going to yell at you. But that's not how we operate. Okay. Anybody else? Otherwise, the round table mastermind is tomorrow at 9 o'clock. For those of you in the listing league, don't forget the huddle at 8:45. And I think that's all I have for you today.
Thank
Right?
you.
Thank you.
Well done, friends.